So from the cliffs and Creekside Farm to the west here is Pisgah National Forest. All development, all housing, everything basically stops here, and from here on it's total wilderness for hundreds of miles. It's the Pisgah National Forest and then Smoky Mountain National Park. So it's thousands and thousands of acres of pristine wilderness. And this is the last of civilization here, pretty much. The cliffs. From here on, Avery Creek Road just goes up a couple more miles and stops where the mountains get too steep, and the mountain says, go no further. It's truly a beautiful place, and we want to do everything we can to try and protect it. You know, the world is moving way beyond green homes and electric cars. You know, it's moving towards sustainability to the point of self-reliance. And anybody who doesn't really understand that shouldn't be in urban planning or design. The world is changing, and people are realizing that we need to live a little differently since we're starting to see the impacts of climate change and the risks that come from that. So it's not just about AgraHoods. Anybody can actually help build food sovereignty, security, and resilience in their community simply by shopping at a farmer's market. Join a CSA program. There's many positive trends of what's happening now that show how important food and locally sourced food is to people. In fact, the National Restaurant Association says that the #1 trend in restaurants right now is farm to table. So a lot of positive things that are happening that reflect people's changing attitude towards food and the importance of local food. You know, the AgraHood is just one extension of that same farm to table trend that's going on. The AgraHood is really where a working farm is built right into the community as an amenity. It's where nature and agriculture, meet with development, where people can experience nature and enjoy the connection to the earth and to the soil and to the farm and to their farmers without really having to do all the work, because farmers do it for you. And but you share in that produce, and you're welcome to go out in the gardens and participate and help work and harvest or plant. It's a great exercise, but really all you have to do is just eat the food that comes out of it. And by supporting that farmer, you've given given her a job. So Asheville is surrounded by beautiful farmland like what you see behind me. This is the upper pasture of Creekside Farm, in fact. And we want to try and do what we can to protect this for future generations so that it lasts. And one way of doing that might be the AgraHood model that we've created here, where we've tried to condense housing on a small piece of the farm, but leave the rest open and in farming and in gardens and in pasture. And so that's what we're trying to achieve here. That's what the AgraHood model is about. And depending on who you talk to, there's perhaps a couple hundred of these AgraHood models sprouting up around the country. And it seems to be one way that we can protect some of our food producing capacity in the region. And that's important because it relates to food sovereignty, food security, and community resilience. And resilience is an important part of what this project is about. It's about being able to support your community to some extent, be able to be a little self-reliant, a little self-sufficient in how you live. And so that's a big part of the project here is related to those three terms: food security, food sovereignty, and resilience. And we do that by improving our ability to produce our own food locally. There's big part of that is retaining the knowledge and the capacity, the infrastructure to grow our own food. What's happening in Asheville and a lot of areas around us is there's so much ingrowth, so many people coming from the outside that it's driving up the prices of land and making it very difficult for young farmers to get in. And the only people can afford farmland right now around here, pretty much at current rates, cost per acre, are developers. Farmers can't necessarily afford to pay the current rate of land here. When we bought this land, other farmers, my friends in this area, told me, Bob, you're nuts. You cannot pay this amount for land and farm it and make enough money to pay the mortgage on it. So, this AgraHood model, we're able to develop some of it, and that development helps to pay for the rest of the farmland. Seems to be a viable alternative to other than just letting it all turn to development.